Dude, we're having so many system failures. This is getting ridiculous. For those who are wondering why this isn't the conversation we're supposed to have with poet Joy Sullivan, she actually did come on our podcast, and we could not hear her.
Yes.
And we were like, what is going on? And she had a hard out, so she couldn't just sit there and mess with us. And she's going on a fucking tour this summer, so now we have to reschedule far in advance. But she came on, and when we have guests on, we do our audio test. I got a new Chromebook not that long ago to use for guests because our old Chromebook, for whatever reason, Google Meets, which we use, just updated or something and said, no, you can't use your webcam anymore. It doesn't work.
Yeah, spend money, buy something new.
Yeah, so I spent money and bought a Chromebook that we only use for that, really. And it already pissed me off because the headphone jack that connects to our mixer didn't fit all the way. So it would be like every time we used it. So I had to buy this stupid adapter, a USB adapter for the headphone jack, and that worked. And that sufficed for months.
Yes.
Got us till Joy Sullivan came on. Right before she came on, we did our normal audio test. We checked the webcam. We have a strict testing.
Yes.
I think we're pretty professional with the testing. Make sure everything works well before the guest comes on so we don't waste anybody's time. Worked fine. Soon as she got on, something went
kaput.
And we couldn't hear her. And then we thought maybe it's Google Meets. After I checked all the knobs and everything, wasted her time. She got on Zoom. Didn't work. Used her phone, and then that's why I realized it's not her computer.
Yeah,
it's us. So unfortunately, we couldn't talk to her. It turned out, I thought for a minute it was the adapter. Turned out the whole port,
the whole
USB port of this brand new fucking Chromebook just stopped working. And not only that, and now unless you have your regular headphones plugged in, you can't hear anything.
I was gonna say it affected just all around volume on the thing.
Yeah, like the speakers just don't play any like YouTube or anything. Like it just doesn't work. Something I don't know sizzled out. I have no idea. So what I did last week, after that debacle, I was very irritated. I went and bought just a new laptop.
Yeah,
I didn't want to buy a new laptop. That was the mixer money. So we don't have the new mixer because I had to buy a fucking new laptop because we have 8,000 guests that want to come on for some reason now. So that was a little annoying, but
probably not anymore now.
But to be fair, I am happy that we have like a backup nice laptop that I can use in case something happens because this is getting a little older now, even though it's a nice one. So I got that.
Yeah, because you think as technology grows, the stability of it would grow as well. But it seems as we further along in technology, the more fragile it becomes.
What do they call that? Planned obsolescence or something? Like
I don't
things
know.
become they do it on purpose, like cars that only go to 200,000 miles. Companies, which is illegal or supposed to be illegal, make it. It's called planned obsolescence because they go obsolete at a certain point.
Well, that's like, washer, dryers, things like that used to last forever.
Dude, I got a really fucking old washer that I've had to rigged a couple times, but it still works.
Yeah.
My Jeep is a hunk of shit, but it's 2000 and it's before all the computer shit got into it, and it's still, you could fix it and it works.
You can actually get to the engine.
Yeah, you could do stuff, but now like everything's computerized.
That's like with my new car. I haven't even opened up the hood because I just don't even.
You can't get to anything anyway.
No, yeah, but I didn't even. It's like, why even bother?
Well, Mindy, she has that new Kia, and when
it might as well be a whole bunch of hamsters in there on a wheel running.
Yeah. I mean, Mindy, she has that new Kia, and we fucking were going to Pittsburgh one time, and it broke down. It just wouldn't start. Like, we stopped at a gas station. Turns out the battery just died, but I couldn't get to anything.
Yeah.
To test anything, to check. I was like, oh, I'm useless. I don't even feel like a man now. But also, as we just off air, and I noticed the last couple weeks, our headphone splitter is just randomly shitting the bed.
Yeah, it's doing it right now.
Is it? You can't hear me?
Yeah, I mean, I can hear you, but I can't hear you through the headphones.
Oh, so it's just...
Yeah.
That fix it?
No.
I don't know what
when you pick that, now it's working.
When I pick it up, it just fixes.
Yeah.
See, mine doesn't go out.
Well, it's like you ever get like a charger where the charger has to be in like a certain spot with a certain angle, like, you know what I mean? I think it's something like that.
There's no reason the headphone splitter should not be working because that's all it does.
It just splits the headphones.
There's not much to it. So anyway, unfortunately, I had a great conversation planned for Joy Sullivan too. I had questions. I actually did some research. I read her poetry. Yeah. And now by the time if she comes back on again, which I wouldn't blame her if she didn't.
No, yeah.
But if she comes back on again, I probably will forget everything.
You have to redo it.
Yeah, so that sucks. But we do have Frances Flannery we're supposed to interview tomorrow.
Yes.
So hopefully Knock on the table just
Oh,
collapses.
God damn it.
I know the table's good because I made it myself. So I know the table's not going to collapse.
Famous last words.
So hopefully everything is good with that. We did just a quick audio test with the new laptop just to make sure, you know, it was working. But I'm very iffy on it. And I noticed when I was testing it when I first got it, that headphone jack has to be like just right.
Mm-hmm. You have to like click it in almost.
I don't know what it is. I know they try to phase out the headphone jacks in a lot of things, but for whatever reason on computers now, because I was telling Spencer, the headphone jacks that goes into the LXR mixer for some reason, the one side's the LXR and the other side's just a normal headphone jack. The headphone jack is thicker at the very base than a regular, like say your headphones you'd plug into your computer or something. So that's why on that Chromebook, it wouldn't plug in all the way. For whatever reason, they didn't make the hole big enough. And on this laptop, it does go all the way, but it has to be just touching or else it goes... It's fucking annoying.
Well, yeah, like you were saying, the jack technology, I think they're just trying to get rid of. Like I was actually
just trying to put it...
Like I was actually surprised the other day. I ran into my sister-in-law at work, and she had actual like earbuds with a cord into the phone.
Oh,
and
man.
I was like,
yeah, I had my phone because I was saying when that thing with Joy, I was like, well, what if I just use my phone? I was like, oh, I don't have a
there's no jack,
no headphone jack anymore. My last phone, I think it was the Note 9. I think still had one, but
yeah, I think whenever I did my recent upgrade, that's when I lost it because I had to go to the Bluetooth because a lot of times that's what I did. Like at work, I just had the.
Now, if we get that new mixer, I think that might be Bluetooth compatible.
So
don't hold me to that, but I think like we would be able to just not have it tethered to the fucking computer.
Oh, but then what about?
It would just fucking be shoddy.
With the internet, you'd have to shut everything else with an internet access off while we recorded, probably.
Everything with Bluetooth,
just to make sure that like it didn't hog anything.
And it'd probably be one of those deals. It's too close. It's not working because it's too close.
What kind of fucking sense does that make?
But yeah, so mixer shorts out a lot and pops and does weird stuff. Though I did turn the volume down on the recording for Audacity, which seems to have helped the popping. But then I have to do more post stuff. The headphone splitters are shitting the bed. Your headphones are falling apart.
Yes.
I actually ordered new ones months ago because mine did fall apart. They've been here since the beginning, so they lasted.
Well, so the cats.
The cats, I don't know. It's like the faux leather. That's what it is. I think the cats don't really chew on. They chew the fuck out of the mic stand.
Well, I thought they would like maybe paw and scratch at it a little bit.
Nah, they don't really bother that. They fuck with this. They do fuck with the headphone splitter. They always knock it over.
I mean, anything with a knob.
They love knobs, yeah. So that mixer is not a good thing to have. And your janky ass fucking arm. Your mic arm from 1973. However, that's the oldest one because I got rid of that. I got the nice Rode one a long time ago. You do have the
nice Rode one.
And it's so smooth and it doesn't make noise. Yours just always like a flaccid penis just sinks. And
throughout the episode, it just slowly goes lower.
Yeah. So we upgraded some technology, but we'll see. Anyway,
like always, we're a work in progress.
We're a work in progress. We had a good run of being on top of the game for like a year.
Though
maybe.
I mean, like I would have to say is that the first time we like really like fucked up with like I guess like with not it being able to.
No, the first time when the original Chromebook decided it didn't want to.
Yeah, but I mean, we were still able to do it though.
We were able to do it. I think we had to go through Zoom, and it was it was a pain in the ass, and we wasted the 30 minutes of the guest time. But they were open. Joy had a hard out, which I didn't realize anyway because we didn't have a chance to talk to her. Normally, that's the first thing. Hey, do you have
how much time you got?
And then I can address the conversation accordingly. But since I couldn't do that because we couldn't even talk to her, I didn't know how long she had, and then it was just a waste of time. It was a shit show.
Yes,
it was embarrassing.
Yes, it's very unprofessional.
It sucked, and I hated it. But she was very nice. So
yes,
and her stuff is very popular. That's another thing. I think to date that would have been our most popular guest. Like just because her social media, she has like 100-something-thousand followers on Instagram. Yeah. I looked at her book that just came out in April. Has almost 200 reviews on Goodreads, and they're all like awesome. So it's just like, that would have been a really cool guest to have on. Yeah, it didn't have that. But anyway, we have an episode out of spite today. So this is a Spencer episode. I'm just here to moderate. You are listening to the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast. I'm your host, Caleb James. With me today, Spencer, the Belgian Breakfast Buster Church. Yeah, I used the name from the defunct episode.
Okay.
I didn't say it in the cold open, but after the Joy Sullivan interview fell through, we said, well, we're here. We might as well record. And we were so mad. It was terrible.
Did you even go back to try to listen to any of it?
No.
Do we still have it, or did you delete it?
It's still on there. But
I was gonna say, maybe like if you have time after you edit this one, maybe go through that if there's anything worthwhile like throwing at the end.
I don't know. I don't think I want
to. You don't want to relive that experience?
No. What'd you say? This episode is sponsored by Stephen King's "You Like It Darker" stories.
Why not? Why? Just bought it. Might as well be.
I got a real good deal from Richard Chismar.
Oh yeah.
Because now I keep getting emails since we covered the books. I didn't do it, but if I pre-ordered his newest book,
okay,
I would have to send the confirmation to them, like email the confirmation, and I would have got a bunch of free stuff.
Oh,
like a Cemetery Dance issue, a chapbook, like just to sign something, a bunch of stuff. But I was a little confused on so I had to go on Amazon to buy the book, and then I have to send them proof that I bought it.
Yeah.
Off of I don't know. It was too much work, and I didn't actually want his. No offense, I just didn't want the book. I'm not gonna read it anytime soon. So.
Yeah.
Today.
Well, that's not gonna be the Halloween book.
I didn't know. No.
Isn't that when the new one's coming out? Isn't it coming around like Halloween time? Like Becoming the Boogeyman, I think.
If I'm thinking correctly, we're supposed to be doing the Divine Comedy for Halloween.
You will shut your dirty fucking face, sir.
Today we are
Hootie pootie tootie.
We are going to be covering the Gilbert Godfrey translation of the Divine Comedy audio.
You know what? I would actually, I would enjoy that. I would listen to that.
And then he went to the 7th layer of hell. No, today's episode is out of spite. Because you listened to the most recent episode of Arcade Bookshop, which was
a cafe episode.
Arcade Cafe last week. I'm trying to think what it would be when this airs. Who cares?
I think it was like number 11, I think.
Yeah, so Bryce was solo that episode because we were set to record, but his wife's brakes went out. So he couldn't, he had to go tow her or some shit. And then I was busy and we couldn't do it. So he ended up doing a solo episode on that one. And in that solo episode, he so egregiously stated that Stephen King can't write women. Something along those lines.
Because he was talking about
Martin O'Kine, very good at writing women.
And he was like, when some authors aren't very good at that, like, and he used Stephen King as an example. And I was just like, well, that's not really accurate. For the most part.
So you sent me a list.
I did send you a list.
The women of Stephen King, the good, the bad, and the best.
Yeah. And because, like, there's some bad female characters in some of his stories. There's some bad male characters. But it kind of all just, depends. But, like, characters, regardless of the race or gender, is kind of like one of the things that Stephen King is, like, best known for.
Right. Well, this article is from 2016 on Medium.
Yeah.
Written by one April Walsh. So it starts off, Stephen King is going through a bit of a revival right now. He was going through a revival with The Dark Tower, Gerald's Game, the first half of It, the Dark Tower series, and the films, and the Mr. Mercedes miniseries.
Yeah, that Dark Tower movie did not.
He was busy around that time. So let's just get into the list.
Let's get into the list.
We already know the accusations.
Yes.
That Stephen King writes bad sex scenes and worse women characters, according to...
Well, I mean, the sex scenes is accurate. Like, the sex scenes are always kind of really, like, weird and awkward and wonky. Like, that, I would say that would be a fair, assessment.
So, all right. Number 10 on this list is Mother Abigail Fremantle.
Mm-hmm.
So is that the Stand?
Yes.
Okay.
She's like the main kind of good guy.
No, these are my words.
Yes.
She would be higher on this list if I were writing this as the preteen girl who first read this. That's her.
Yeah.
So, just so you know.
Just to clarify that.
Just so everyone knows.
Yeah.
I'm not reading someone else's. That's my words. For obvious
Those
reasons.
are Caleb's thoughts.
Yeah. I loved her as a kid. Thought she was fascinating and kind, magical and wise. I think I might know where this. Yeah, I'm not even gonna say the word.
Oh yeah.
It's the the magical black person trope.
Oh.
That's where they were going with that, which you don't see when you're a youngin, but that's racist now. It wasn't racist when this was written 10 years ago, but not the stamp was written a long time.
Yeah, but even when
I
that article,
they had a picture from this miniseries, which even that was in the 90s, wasn't it?
yes.
Yeah, Gary Sinise.
I mean, yeah, the original one. They did that new one not too long ago, but
Yeah.
I don't think that was too well received.
But regardless, they say it's the magical black person characterization is something that is more condescending than complimentary nowadays. They have that movie that has the whole premise of that, which apparently was dog shit.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I remember sending you the trailer for that. Like, what is this supposed to like?
Yeah, apparently it's just fucking awful. So Mother Abigail points for being the mouthpiece of God, and she was a powerful lady and a good. I mean, I didn't read it, but from everything I've heard and from what I saw on the Stand miniseries, seemed like a cool character.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I get the trope. It's like the Legend of Bagger Vance. She always had this magical black janitor or something that comes out of the woodwork and saves you. Has to save Whitey from himself. So that's kind of cool.
Well, he's having a hard time.
This next one's interesting. Jesse Burlingame from Gerald's Game.
Yeah.
Didn't know her last name was Burlingame.
It's
interesting.
Yeah.
I might be saying that wrong, but I'm saying it phonetically, how it's spelled.
Well, that's the thing about names, especially last names.
Yeah, so in Gerald's Game, I have not read the story, but I watched the very gruesome movie a couple times. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I haven't got because that's a Netflix one, right?
Yeah, it's a good movie, though. But yeah, basically, Gerald is a piece of shit, and he wants to, they're trying to rekindle their marriage, handcuffs her to a bed in a secluded cabin or so. So not really a cabin, like a lake house or something. He's a rich guy. He gets to busy, gonna do some sexy, kinky stuff.
Gets too excited.
Has a heart attack, dies on top of her, and now she's stuck.
Handcuffed to the bed.
Handcuffed to the bed with no way out, nobody to help. And it's a gripping tale of one woman's triumph over adversity.
Now, in the book, I'm pretty sure, like, she's, like, topless. Like, is it like that in the movie? Or
I
no?
wish, but no. I wish it was.
Was there at least a little bit of any?
No, it was like a slinky dress. It was one of those ones like, why are you fucking with the thing on, the nightgown on?
Oh, yeah.
But it was the one that's in Mike Flanagan, all his stuff. I forget her name. She's a pretty lady. She's older now. She's in her 50s.
She's been in a lot of stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, check it out. It's good character.
Well, I mean, she's basically the only person, like, and it's just really interesting, the different things you do to try to get out of that, out of that situation and stuff.
There was actually an update on this in 2019, talking about the Gerald's Game when it came out.
Oh, okay.
Carla Giugiano or or whatever was the lady, by the way. So we move on. It's hard to do these without just like cribbing the person's words, but this just seems to be a lot of praise and
yeah, when I was looking through it, I didn't see a lot of like, the bad or anything, but
Number 8, Jane Coslaw, Silver Bullet, Cycle of the Werewolf. Did I read that?
I think because that's the one that's almost kind of like a comic. It has the illustrations and stuff.
Couldn't have been that good of a character. I don't remember.
Yeah, that was whenever I was looking through the list. That was the one where I was just like, I don't recall that. Like I recall like the kid and then the werewolf.
Apparently, she is the legs of this investigation into the strange killings in her town and instrumental in stopping them and protecting her brother. Okay. 7, Fran Goldsmith from The Stand. Tell us about Molly Ringwald as Fran. She was.
Is that who played her?
Yeah, in the series. It was a very, very terrible picture.
Oh, yeah, that was... Yeah,
shitty black hair. It's
that's
blurry.
Weird, yeah.
Must have, like, screenshotted a screenshot of a screenshot.
Yeah.
This awful picture. But, yeah, she was in The Stand, and what was her character on that? She good? How's she good?
She's good because she's very, like, independent, and in her town, there's this another character that she spends a lot of time with, Howard, and, like, he's, like, the ultimate kind of, like heavy-set creeper kind of guy, and just kind of like how she kind of deals with him and stuff like that, and she's, like, one of, like, the leading characters, and like she ends up running a lot of stuff towards the end whenever like a lot of the people get together and like the rest of the civilization and stuff like that. And
she also is pregnant.
She is
an
pregnant.
Unplanned pregnancy. She has to worry about whether the baby's going to be immune
to the disease and stuff like that.
So it takes a lot of inner strength to be able to bring a baby into that kind of world.
And then so she's like young. I mean, like, she's obviously of age, but she's still like on the younger side. Like, I think she was like just out of high school, whatever, whenever the thing happened, and like she ends up having like with an older character and stuff like that, and like that, that's like a big thing too, and stuff like that. It was just
This next one on the list, this goes into kind of a trope I've noticed in Stephen King when he does write women, is like the battered woman who overcomes and is strong in that way. Maybe that is a little stereotypical. Like maybe I could see like if you keep writing those characters, but this is Rose Daniels from Rose Matter. I only seen the movie. What was the movie? Or maybe it was a show. Rose Red.
I don't know if I remember that one.
I think it was a TV series.
Maybe like a event series or something like that.
Like how when they redid The Shining as a TV,
it was like a couple hour set things.
But I have not read the book. That was a series, wasn't it? The Rose Red.
No,
it was just called Rose Matter.
Yeah.
I wonder why they changed the name for the show. I'm pretty sure it was Rose Red.
Maybe I don't. Yeah, I don't think I ever watched it.
It wasn't that good. Yeah, so this character was in 14 years of domestic abuse and makes a new life for herself, finds out who she is again, and all this other horse hockey.
And then there's like a weird painting that can take you to like a different place.
Yeah, now this is one of the top female villains of all time.
Yeah?
Annie Wilkes from Misery. What a great character.
Yeah.
Just from the Kathy Bates in the movie. Holy shit.
Definitely put like an extra layer on that to like...
Yeah.
Because obviously, like I saw the movie before I read the book, and even though that they're both pretty faithful, but like, and like no matter like how he described her in the book, it was just her, as I was reading it. And
yeah, it's really good. But when you look at that character trope, that was one where I don't really remember. Like that's always been a character, is like the obsessive woman, like the femme fatale,
or even like the excessive fan, like
or even like he combined them. But before Misery, I don't remember that being done so well.
Well, and it's also because it's not like you said, like the femme fatale, like that's like somebody who's been like training, and like this is just like
crazy.
This is just like an uber fan who her favorite author literally just like crashed in front of her house. And
well, this is like that Baby Reindeer show I watched recently on Netflix, which is an obsessed person. She becomes obsessed with this guy, basically ruins his life. And it's actually based on a true story of the guy who wrote and starred in the show. And the fucking crazy lady that was really stalking him came out and like did interviews, and everyone's like, "Oh, she is fucking crazy." So kudos to King for writing a strong, crazy character.
Yeah, and also just like hey, like women can be the bad guy too without like trying to have it be like sexist or any, like, because there was none of that going on in that story.
Or those stupid old tropes where it's like she got to use her feminine wiles to trick the guy, or do any of that dumb shit. No, she was just crazy.
And she just manhandled that motherfucker.
Fucking brutal, yeah. Number 4, I don't know this one at all. Trisha McFarlane from The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon.
It's a little girl who gets lost like in the woods, like on a walking trail or something like that, with it from her parents, and the Tom Gordon, what's his name? Tom Gordon is like a baseball player. It's like her favorite baseball player. So as she's like trying to find a way, she gets attacked by like this like weird bear, or she thinks it's a bear, but like throughout that she kind of has these visions of that player, and like she kind of like follows him through like until she gets like saved and stuff like that.
So her bravery is what sets her apart.
Especially like I said, she's like maybe like 5 or 6, she's very, very young. Like
number 3, Susanna Dean from The Dark Tower.
Oh yeah.
She's I'm guessing by this picture of her holding a gun, she's a rebel rouser, a shooter, a gunner.
You could say that. And
a tough lass.
You could definitely a tough lass. She whoop your ass, and she has no legs from the knees down. So like that alone, because like with like her just trying to travel and stuff like that, because like there'd be like they're going through different dimensions, and anytime they're like in the gun, any of the gunslingers kind of like wards and stuff like that, there's no pavement, it's very like westerny and stuff like that. And just she has a couple of different personalities going on at the same time too. It's just a lot of interesting things throughout the series of books.
Now this one, again, I can only attest to the movie, which again, Kathy Bates, again, amazing. fucking wonderful performance. Also, what I think is one of Stephen King's most underrated movie adaptations, Dolores Claiborne.
Mm-hmm.
Because the dad was such a fucking piece of shit. And then Dolores Claiborne has had enough.
Mm-hmm.
She stands up and she, again, another tough lady,
Mm-hmm.
but very realistic. Like one that you go, oh, I can see like a woman pushed over the edge
Mm-hmm.
would do what she does. And I'm not giving anything away, but you know. Number 1, Carrie White. This actually has more. Carrie White, Snoo Snell, Miss Desjardins, and Margaret White and Chris. This is fucking name 50 people.
I saw that and I wasn't really sure what all that meant.
So why are they, Carrie's an insane mass murderer. Yeah. Also, that's more than one character. You cheater, blah, blah, blah. So why are you giving this? This is King's words on the matter, on these characters. Some women said, you write all those macho things, but you can't write about women. I said, I'm not scared of women. I could write about them if I wanted to. So I got an idea for a story about this incident in a girl's shower room, and the girl would be telekinetic. I mean, I read Carrie, and I can't remember. Like, I just remember that scene being realistic, like the shower scene. I think that's the most you can ask for an author to write a women characters well, or just any gender, is to write it realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Like write it like, oh no, this is how, like, women can be gross and they can be mean and they can be petty, and where most men fail at writing women characters is writing women characters from their rose-tinted view.
Right.
It's like, well, women are up on this pedestal and they're innocent, or if they're bad, it's over the top. Like I said, with the feminine wiles, and they use their sex appeal to be dangerous, and they manipulate men. Or if they're a good character, that means they're a loyal woman who sticks behind her man. Like
no matter what, like in like the politician's wife.
Yeah, like write a real woman character.
Oh, I was gonna say, because like I think that's like just in criticisms in general when it comes to like about writing women characters, or just really characters in general, is like, you know, I feel like sometimes writers would try to be like, my character, this well-rounded, just, you know, really good, either good or evil, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I know plenty of people that aren't 3-dimensional, that they're just basic fucking bitches. Men too. Again, I'm just not ladies, but just people in general, just being basic bitches that don't have like, they're just one thing, you know, they're, you know, and they have no, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If you want to write any character well, whether it's women, man, trans, gay, straight, whatever you're doing, they have to have faults.
Right, yeah. Or they're not people.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the biggest argument you always have against what is considered poor writing is the Mary Sue character.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what the name for the man character is, but they have the same thing. Where it's
a lot of times I just hear people refer even to like the men as Mary Sue's too.
Mary Sue's, yeah. It's just stupid because it's like, oh, they do no wrong. They always make the right decision, or, you know, if they do something, make a mistake, or they have a fault, it's plot specific.
Yeah.
The best characters, and I will attest to some of Stephen King's newer works, like the female character in Later, I thought was good.
Mm-hmm.
The characters he had in Revival, he had some female characters in there I thought were all very well rounded.
Well, I was going to say, there's a character, she wasn't mentioned because she might have not been out yet. It was in the Mr. Mercedes character, Holly Gibney, I think is how you say her last name. And she's like a very like, she's younger, because like, you know, that series is about, you know, old retired detective who didn't solve like the big like mass murder case at the end of his career, and him trying to like fix that wrong.
Yeah.
And like through that he meets this younger girl. She's like either a teenager or just like, you know, like 20 something, like, or, you know, early 20s, something like that. And she's very like socially awkward, like she still like lives at home and just is not like a very like, you know. And throughout that series you really get to see her like kind of come out of her shell and like use her like, and she's like really smart and like able to like use that to help like solve, you know, the case and things and stuff like that. Because I was actually looking up some other things and I saw them talking about that, because like in like the first book there's a scene where the detective like tells her, oh, she should like smile more, and like, you know, and like that one of the criticisms about that scene was like about like, you know, how whenever men tell women to smile more and stuff like that. But it was like I disagreed with her, because like it wasn't him like trying to tell her to smile more, to try like look pretty. It was just like, no, like you should try to be like, happy, or to smile, like, you know what I mean? Because like it was like after like a death of another character and stuff like that, and it was just like, you have to, you know what I mean? Like it sucks and you have to try to go through, but you have to try to eventually, people liked her so much after that series. She showed up in The Outsiders, which was another book, a newer book, and a short story, and then she just got her own novel, a couple. I think it was like the one before this. You Like It Darker.
So what you're saying is she sucks.
She's fucking terrible.
Awfully written.
Yeah.
I found something we're gonna discuss in a minute.
Okay.
I need to take a quick break to order this food.
I was surprised you didn't do that beforehand.
I'm supposed to do it at 6:45.
Oh, okay.
I have specific instructions.
Did you just follow? Yes, best just to follow.
Bryce, what are you doing?
Trying to, game.
What?
This game is really hard.
Pac-Man?
Yeah.
Dude, you're supposed to be playing the game for next week's episode of Arcade Bookshop.
I mean, I will. I'm really close to beating this.
Right. And what about the book?
Huh?
We're supposed to finish a book for the podcast too?
Oh, yeah. I finished that last week. Yes!
Oh, did you finally beat it?
Uh-huh. The first level.
Oh, boy.
You can listen to new episodes of Arcade Bookshop every other Monday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you get your pods. You'll always find us with a controller in one hand and a book in the other.
All right, the food is ordered.
Yes.
We are back.
Back on it.
So as I was saying off air, I didn't want to just have, here's the great.
Oh, the good, yeah.
That article. And by the way, the reason I didn't read that is because they didn't actually give information too much.
No.
Mainly just talked about like, this is cool.
Like her thoughts on the characters.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about somebody else's thoughts, so I'm gonna go and talk about a bunch of people's other thoughts now.
And like I said before, like yes, he has written some janky characters for both,
Yeah. So this is on Reddit. This is a little more recent, 2 years ago. What do you all think about how Steven writes women?
Women.
So this is the critique, and also I would imagine the critique has aged. Not the critique, the critique, but from like if you ask somebody in the 90s how Stephen King writes women to now,
Right.
Obviously that's gonna have aged.
And then again, it's probably like if you ask an older person,
They're gonna feel different.
other than what a younger person who probably haven't had a chance to read like all of this stuff,
So this person has said, I saw a video recently where people accused him of being one of those male writers who write women effectively as objects. I personally don't agree, but what's the sub's opinion? First post here, by the way. So what do you feel before we go into? Do you think he writes characters as objects? Because that's one thing I haven't noticed.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't.
Like we talked about also off air. We had a much better conversation in that 30 seconds off air than we had the whole time we were on. But Wendy from The Shining, the book Wendy is not the weak sniveling Wendy from the movie. And we think maybe people are taking some of the female characters they remember from the movies
right
and putting it on the characters from the books, which is not accurate. So do you see that the object idea though?
I can't ever really recall it. Or like if it is, it's like it's the bad guy like using.
I mean, the whole point of Gerald's game was that she feels like she's been an object her whole life, and now she's fighting back.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't. If Stephen King has done that, he was aware of it, at least at some point, because he wrote Gerald's game where he addresses it. So.
And again, if somebody who's what I think with this new book, I know he's somewhere in the 60s, as books written.
Yeah.
So like, there's gonna be some things like.
This person said, yeah, he wrote Christine like she was an object. Fucking Jack.
That's fair. That's fair. I like that one.
I would say he's pretty hit or miss. Carrie White, Donna Trenton, Dolores Claiborne, and Jesse Burlingame all strike me as well-written, fully fleshed out characters. It seems like he writes women fairly well when they're the main character in a book, but not so much when they're part of an ensemble cast.
I could see that. I can see
That could just be like you don't have enough time to fill them out.
Because I was thinking about that. Because like as I was saying, like as with the different characters, like it just like it depends on sometimes like he writes stories where like the female character is really like well put together and like the male is this dumbling dope buffoon guy, and then there's other stories where like the guy's like the hero,
Yeah.
and then the woman might be, but like
I think we're all, especially
Yeah.
short stories, like we're all, as writers, might fall prey to, hey, we don't have enough time to flesh these characters out. Let's just go try and true trope.
and like I said before, like both of those things are accurate to the male and female, like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So just because like
Well,
if he
I
writes the
think
character that way, that like I don't like. There's people like that. So,
I think that's the problem, though, is now we're living in a world where people are trying to change that view. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, no, men aren't the ones who just take out the garbage and fix cars. Most of us probably
Yeah.
still are. But that we're trying to pretend like that's not.
Mhm.
Like, that's what I don't like is that pretend where it's like, no, I get it. Like, oh, women don't just stay in the kitchen and do laundry and
Yeah.
cook food and have babies. Like, that's not all women are.
Mm.
But when you look at men.
Unless if you're the punter for the Kansas City
Yeah.
Chiefs.
Well, that's the thing. There's always an actual, there's always going to be women who want to be that.
Yeah.
There's always going to be men who want to be fucking mechanics and men who want to do hard-nosed work and, be the typical meathead.
And there's nothing wrong with any of those. Like,
As long as you and your family are happy,
Mhm.
that's what matters. But anyway, this person says, I just finished Bizarre Bad Dreams, and the way he writes women in the short stories makes it seem like he has a fetish for skinny, describing their flat stomachs, slender legs, slim bodies, giving their weight in pounds, etc. Literally every single one. But in a novel, he seems to be able to speak to their other attributes too, so it's less noticeable. I will say I actually had that exact thought when I read some of his short stories around the time I was reading Haruki Murakami, because Murakami writes all women like that.
Yeah.
From which that's a more apt critique. I think we when we had Nicholas Obregon, either on DPW or I think it was DPW because we had the Murakami Minute with
right.
him. I think that was one of his reasons for not liking Murakami anymore, was that he can't write women.
Yeah, they're not characters.
They're just like objects almost.
Well, remember with the one like the pinball one with the guy with the twins? Like I was having trouble keeping which twin was which because there was nothing.
Twin one and twin. They didn't even have
Yeah.
names. So this person says, I think.
But to the Slender thing, that makes me think back because like Stephen King has got a little bit in trouble too about like fat phobia. Like, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like how when he talks about his fat character. So I think it's just like, again, like he's really good at describing things and stuff like that.
It's funny. It's funny. It's not funny because at one point making fun of fat people wasn't just safe as
It was-
comedy.
you
It was
should-
actually it was like almost the opposite of shunned. It was
Yeah.
almost like, hey, you should make fun of them so they won't be so fat.
Right.
Like you think of it with the blob or whatever, the kid, the pie eating contest. It's like things like that. At one time, that's hilarious. But now, again, through the modern eye, can't do that. But now it's coming back again. People were the fat acceptance or it was body acceptance and then fat acceptance, and then it just got to the ridiculous. I'm 800 pounds and I love myself and I'm healthy.
We know what happened. A lot of those people died.
They died, and then people were like, maybe not the best. And now it's swinging back, and people are going back to making fun of people for being overweight. And it's funny because when we think of even in the 90s, when people would be considered the fat kid, they look at 80s, they look at Chunk from the Goonies.
Right.
Not fat at all.
No.
He was the fat doing the truffle shuffle,
Right.
the fucking fat, not Chunk, but what was his name? Yeah, it was Chunk. I'm combining with Sloth. But so Chunk from the Goonies was considered the fat kid. And it's like, no, he had a round face kind of, but he wasn't a fat kid at all. Like if you look at kids now,
Yeah.
like that's not even the average. Average are way heavier. But anyway, this person says, I think people miss the fact that he writes his character's thoughts. So when a creep is staring at his secretary's jahoobies, it's to show us that the character is a creep. That is a point that, because that goes with like the racism too. Like
Because he'll
have racist characters, and for whatever fucking reason, these mouth breathers who read this stuff, like, why are you? I can't believe you even read if you think that this is the author's thoughts when it's clearly the thoughts of a character.
Well, and then also too, especially like with like it's ridiculous within like any writers or creative people but like Stephen King is very open on his thoughts and views on things.
Yeah.
So like whenever it's something like that, like that's not how he feels. Like
It's fucking just stupid. It's almost like I just want to cause some kind of controversy. Let's say Stephen King's racist.
This is what gets me hits.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. Because that was real bad around the time that article was written, actually. That's what like going around a lot. So I've read female characters by King that I have really enjoyed. Misery, Dolores Claiborne, Odetta in the Dark Tower series. There are plenty if people separate the author from the character's thoughts. Also, Tabitha King seems like a good, intelligent woman that he clearly has a lot of respect for. I think as an author, friend, and wife, she would have had said something by now to him if he really thought and behaved the way some of his characters do. That's the stupidest fucking argument, though. It's like, oh, his characters are evil, so he's evil.
Yeah.
Bram Stoker sucked blood. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Fucking stop being stupid. I don't get it. I think the character he redeems himself with is Wendy from The Shining. She wasn't the same character in Cooper's movie, as I stated. I think it depends on what the story is and who he's portraying. He himself, I don't think, views women as objects, but he's very good at writing characters who do think like that. I think that's the basis for it, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to the characters in the story, because that's one thing about Stephen King's author voice is it's usually the character.
Yeah.
So when you're reading scenes, it's like even the narration, it's usually coming from the mind of a character or the character's view on the story.
Or like it's a third party character that's like, because like a lot of times in his writing, it's like the narrator is just like almost like another character that doesn't deal like that's not involved in any of this, but it's like but
it's not actually Stephen King though. It's still something separate. But a lot of times in his exposition and stuff, when you read what's going on, whatever character happens to be in that scene, like usually is one of the characters in that scene, that's actually where the narration and like that's where that stuff's coming from. So you're viewing, like, say, from the store clerk's view, even if it's not a main character. So that's probably where the problem comes in, where a lot of people, he writes weak characters, weak women characters. Is he writing weak women characters, or is he viewing the women characters from the, the protagonist or the antagonist? Is he viewing the character from another character's eyes because maybe they view the character as a weak woman, and that's why you're getting that?
Yeah, because he has done stories where like it would jump between people's point of views for parts of the story,
and the same character might be seen differently depending on
which character it is.
So I think that is a weak argument. Again, I'm not going to say that he hasn't written bad women characters. You write enough, you're just going to, for whatever reason, you're going to have characters that just aren't good. Yeah, that's always going to happen. Just like you're going to have plots that aren't good. A story's not good. Sometimes you swing and miss. Sometimes you're on a deadline. Sometimes you're writing a story and you don't have enough space to fill out what you want to fill out, so a character is one-dimensional.
Yeah.
It happens. I'm sure, and this is another part of the argument that people choose to ignore, if you looked at his men's characters and you were a men's advocate guy, or in one of those fucking advocate groups where it's like men's rights and all this stuff, so you're focusing on men being portrayed badly, well, there's a lot you can pick from.
I was gonna say, if anything, I feel like if anybody should be mad about the way that what gender he writes characters, it's like men, because a lot of times they're the fucking asshole, they're the problem, they're what I mean.
There's two parts of this argument that everyone seems to ignore. One, whether it's a men character or male authors writing men characters, oftentimes you're gonna get like tropes that are just glossed over, or like character arcs. So you're always gonna have like the sporty guy, or the just the rampaging asshole jerk, the greedy guy. You always have these character tropes that people just like, that's fine because it's a male. But if you do the same thing with women, then all of a sudden, that's just the sexual object one, or that's the people complain. And two, why is it we give the women authors the pass for writing shitty men poorly?
Characters? Yeah, because
I've read stories where I'm like,
and then I'm sure like in like a lot of those romance stories, the guys aren't getting a fair shake.
Never.
Those, I couldn't imagine.
I've read female authors that are esteemed, and the male character is like, I'm rolling my eyes, like that's not a real male character. But because they're male, we just kind of ignore it. We're just like, I don't really. Who cares?
Well, it's kind of like in that in the shitty female Ghostbusters movie. the Chris Hemsworth's character
was a fucking bumbling idiot.
Yeah, and like nobody gave a shit about that. But like if if in like the newer Ghostbusters, if they had like that with one of the female characters, they'd be a fucking pig asshole.
She was a helpless. Keeps getting stuck in stuff, and guys have to save her. Not stuck in the dryer, but stuck in things like, oh no, I got myself in trouble because I'm a fucking idiot and I'm helpless. Save me. Yeah, people would find a problem with that. But then when you got the fucking bumbling idiot dunderhead male who keeps fucking everything up for him, then that's fine. That's funny.
That's funny.
It's hilarious. Just like prison rape is funny if it's men.
Yeah.
Apparently that's fucking hilarious.
Or it's like expected.
Or you even almost deserved. Oh, you went to prison. You probably deserve that. But if you told any, female-centric story set in a women's prison, that's not going to fly. No. Oh, my God, that's a fucking trope. Or that's sexual men's fantasies. He's sick in the head writing about this, even if you made it brutal and graphic or, like the Shawshank Redemption. The rapes in that weren't good.
No.
But if you wrote the female version of that and it was just as brutal and gross and awful, people would be like, oh, that's just sick fetish for that author. Again, they wouldn't be able to separate. Unless it was a female author who wrote it, then it's fine. Right. It's just weird. Like, that's where you get into the weird gender double standards.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think that's going to go away.
No.
And we just kind of, as males, we accept it. But
and honestly, I don't know if it's something that should go away.
Yeah. Well, here's another
because
point.
Everything can't be A-okay for everybody all the time. It can happen. That's why there's not a utopia. You think if a utopia was possible, it would have been done by now. You know what I mean?
Some say it already has happened, but then we couldn't accept it.
That's exactly what would happen.
People would not accept. Everything's too good.
Yeah, people would be fucking pissed.
Just like if you've ever dated one of them cantankerous women who, no matter what you do to make them happy, they won't be happy. As Chris Rock said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but let's say, you don't give her an orgasm and she's going to bitch. But then if you do give her an orgasm, why you make me come so hard?
Yeah, I'm sure that's exact. And it would be more like, why only once?
It's just never enough. That is the one downfall of the male species. That is our comeuppance for being shitty for our whole existence against women and treating women as objects.
Well, it's like men have had this dominance for so long, and even still now. So it's just like, to make up for that dominance, you have to be a puss about some things and just fucking accept it.
If we go to Robert E. Howard's barbarism, which I've been trying to bring back, you don't have to.
You don't have to. But that's normally how you end up in the jail with the ass raping and.
Yeah, well, in modern society, but once upon a time, concubine was a thing that was still.
Oh yeah,
I mean that's still in some countries that flies, but it's like you just have all a harem.
A harems, you want some harems?
And you know what? I'm fine with women having a harem of dudes if you're in power. I think we should bring back
harems,
emperors.
Emperors.
No, I'm not for that. I do think the survival of the fittest. If you could beat somebody with a hammer. The problem is we invented guns.
Yeah.
That evens the playing field.
I can say because are you worried about getting beat with a hammer?
No. I'm worried about getting shot by a skinny wienery dude with blue hair. If I was in the 1100s and I just had a big axe and I was really buff, I could probably do some shit and people would just, all right, just don't fuck with that guy. But now we're living in a time period where it's like, it doesn't matter how big you are, some fucking wieners are going to shoot you. Sucks.
Right.
Barbarism's gone.
No.
Now we have polite society.
The good old days, some will say.
Again, not good for women or people of color.
No.
Not at all. But if we were able to bring barbarism back, but somehow make it more equal.
Equal barbarism.
So if you're a woman who's really strong, you can fucking beat the shit out of your man if you want, if he's acting up. I don't know where we're
that's the next president's platform.
Barbarism.
Equal barbarism for all.
Turns out he was actually just talking about being good at barbering, cutting people's hair. Got it wrong. No, I think society sucks anyway. It doesn't matter what you do. It's always going to be shit. And somebody's always going to get the short end of the stick. You know why? Because people don't like to feel like they're the bottom.
And that's why Stephen King does very good female characters.
I concur. So that was today's episode. It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. Maybe. I don't know. Wait till the edits. If you want to check out other stuff we do at TBW Podcast on Instagram, X, Facebook, and YouTube, we don't fucking post anything else. CalebJamesK.com with my publication history. I wish I would have did this. I probably would have announced it if I could, but this episode will be out and it'll be over. But right now, for free, if you want a Kindle version of Ethereal Nightmares, you can get it. But as a listening, it's probably not. I don't think it's gonna be up anymore. And also Spencer Church. He is the fuck were you? The Beirut Bestiality?
No, it was Breakfast Buster.
Belgian Breakfast Buster.
Something like that.
Stupid. That's I like the bestiality.
yeah, I know you do, Caleb. I know you do.
Anyway, thank you for listening. We will check you next week with hopefully a nice, fresh interview to start off a series of very good interviews. I hope.
Hopefully.